Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a stock analysis on Knightscope. Now, if you don't know what Knightscope makes, they make autonomous security robots like the K1, the K5, and the K7. Now, these robots are quite interesting, but I'm going to get into that a bit later. Now, first, let's take a look at the graph. Now, as you can see, recently it hasn't been the most fun stock to own. As you can see, back in November of last year, it peaked up at 28 bucks, and ever since then, it's just been a ride downwards. We have seen some upturns, but overall, it is just a downwards going trend. Now, if I make each candle a day instead, as you can see, it has been a very, very horrid stock to own. So basically, it has just fallen and fallen and fallen, and we even have a reverse stock split here. So if you had 50 shares now, you would only have a single. So overall, really not the most fun stock to own. Now, let me make each candle a day, not an hour again. Now, we also see the RSI, as you can see, recently has been quite a lot under pressure. As you can see, we're trading all the way down here in 4, and we did see we were oversold in the RSI. All trading all the way down here in 13, and as you can see, overall we have just been in the lower RSI for quite a while. Now we do see some peaks up here above 70, but overall we are in the lower channel or oversold. Now, if you don't know what RSI is, this is the relative strength index. So if something is between 70 and 50, it's in the upper channel here, meaning it is more bought than sold. If it's between 50 and 30, it's in the lower channel down here, meaning there are more shorters or sellers in the market. And when it's below 30, it's overbought, and when it's above 70, it's oversold. When it's up here, it's rising rapidly. When it's down here, it's falling rapidly. But always be careful. Just because it fell down here, doesn't mean it can't fall even further. Of course, it was at this peak down here. It was trading at what's that 4.22, but that doesn't mean it couldn't fall to 4. And as you can see, we're even high. We're actually higher up in the RSI here. So of course, always be careful. Now that being said, there is some positive, as you can see here, they're guiding upwards in the EPS, and as we also see that they have beat them the last 3 times, besides the one that was just the other day. But overall, still, this is of course great to see. Now their annual earnings, however, they're not that great. As you can see, they're not earning any money at all, basically, and they have a huge loss on their net income. Now this is of course because they're inventing new technology and investing into the company, so always bear that in mind. Now if you look at the financials as well, as you can see, they have some debt. They have $7.5 million in debt, but they have a huge amount of cash. They have 20 million in cash, and of course the market cap is $54 million. So of course they have a relatively large amount of debt, but they have a huge amount of cash. This is very important, because this means they can of course fund their operation and continue to increase their products and so on and so forth, and just keep them going, which is very nice. Now, if you look over here, you're going to see something interesting. That is the amount of closely held shares. These are shares who can't be sold on the open stock market. This is due to a lockup period, and this is often for investors or CEOs. And given that this stock was only first publicly traded back in 2022, it's interesting that we don't see any more of this, which is very nice. Now, free float, of course, is very great to see that. Now, if you look at the price of sales, as you can see back in 22, it was quite high compared to now. Now, we're a bit up from earlier. As you can see, in 2024, we were in 3.38, and now we're on almost 4 again. So, of course, it is going upwards in the price to sales. Now, if you look at the revenue, as you can see right here, how do they make their money? Well, of course, until 2021, it was simply called Advanced Physical Security Technologies, but then they have diverged into 2 different branches. Now, emergency communication devices is because they have something like phones and other devices where you, if you are on a college campus or somewhere else, you can contact their autonomous security robots. This is something like the K7 or the K5. That is at least the intention of it. And I do think it's going to be interesting in the future to see how this does, because I haven't been able to find any competitors, so it's also going to be interesting to see, is there actually a real market for this autonomous security robots? Now, they're only in the United States, and I expect them only to be in the United States for the foreseeable future, because I don't think any other countries kind of have the same niche that the United States have, especially in this autonomous robot securities segment. Now, if you look at the seasonals, as you can see right here, every single one is quite negative. As you can see, minus 86, minus 67, minus 61, and minus 57. Now, you might think, well, it's very cheap now, but be very careful. Just because the stock has fallen so far doesn't mean it's going to rise. Of course, don't grab the falling knife. So overall, I mean, I would be very careful owning this stock. I'm definitely not going to buy any myself until I see much better numbers from them, especially in their revenue, and I want to reduce their negative net income. So overall, I really want them to just do a bit better before I'm going to buy this stock. In the future, if they do it right, they could be worth a ton of money, but right now I won't touch it at all. Now, the technicals, for the day it's a sell, for the week it's a sell, and for the month it is still a sell. As you can see, of course, this only makes sense because it really hasn't been performing that great. Now, if you look at the analyst rating as well, of course, as you can see, we have 3 strong buy, which is quite interesting given the fact that all the other markets we've seen aren't that great. So we have one up by 70%, one up by 231%, and the max up by 470%, which is absolutely crazy. Now, I think this is a bit of a tunnel vision because, to be honest, I don't see this happening within 1 year. That would be absolutely crazy. If one was it would definitely be this one up here with $8. But overall, well, I think this up $27 in 1 year, that is going to be absolutely impossible to hit, in my opinion. Now, if you look at the EPS as well, I mean, just look at this. We only have this year and then next year estimates. I don't like this at all. I want to see what they think is 2027, 2028, how that is going to go. So I really want to see that, and the fact that they don't estimate that is a quite big red flag for me personally. Now, if you look at annual revenue as well, I mean, just look at this. They're not increasing the revenue that much, of course, which is quite poor. So I want to see them make a ton more money, and not only $11 million and then $15 million next year. I want to see them grow much faster. So for me, this is a huge not buy. If you own them, you could, of course, hold. If you don't have them, you could choose not to buy and invest in something else that would make you actual money. Now, this is, of course, only my opinions and my analysis on this. This isn't financial advice, and of course, this is only for entertainment and educational purposes. But if you want to see more videos like this where I go over a stock, please leave the stock you want to analyze in the comment section below.